Everybody knows the best weapon for any mech is the kind that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. Myself personally, I just trade my kidneys because I don't need those anyway. But today I'm going to be ranking all of the cheapest epic and legendary weapons, which means the ones that only cost credits. Now, epic stuff is cheaper than it was, and so is fairly affordable, but even still kind of expensive. So we just have the full list here. It's actually quite a few. For simplicity, I have labeled all of these tiers. We're just going to go with these 5. Anyway, starting left to right, Arc Torrent 6. I'm going to put this in C. Best to avoid it. It's not the worst. It's not the worst. Currently, it's really bad. Will they buff it later? Maybe. I don't know. As it is right now, it's definitely one of the worst epic weapons, but not the absolute worst. You could get it and be okay. Cryo Launcher 6. I'm going to go with probably worth buying, especially if you're a free-to-play player. It's probably going to be one of those things that you get for the sake of progression, but it is very cheap and it's fairly effective, especially earlier on. Ember Gun 6. I'm gonna put in also probably worth buying, though again, it does kind of depend on whether or not you need it for progression. I don't think the 6 itself is gonna carry you very far, so like skipping it's not really gonna hurt you. Missile Rack 6, be decent. It's not the sort of thing that you're gonna use for a long time, but you'll probably use it for a little while. It's one of the better epic weapons, I guess. Quantum Gun, I'm gonna put C, best to avoid it. I mean, it's a pretty low damage output. It does apply the 2 status effects, Weaken and Stasis. Weaken effect increases the amount of damage that you apply by 50%, but even that's like, it's not great. Ember Gun does the same thing, for example, right? Now moving on to legendary 6 energy weapons. Chain Gun first and foremost, just don't. Yeah, the easiest way is to just not. Disruptor 6, I would say, is decent. It is decent. Actually, one of the main things that draws me away from Disruptor 6 specifically is that the only other Disruptor that is possible to get with credits is the 12, and that's a weird energy combination. It's 18 energy. Hellfire 6, also don't. Yeah, I would just not with that. Easily one of the worst legendary weapons for now. It is going to get a buff. After the buff that's going to happen on November 27th, it's still going to be pretty bad, probably. I'll make a video, but I don't think it's going to perform that much better. It's going to need something serious to make it worthwhile. Particle Beam 6, you can get the 10. Unlike Disruptor, you can get the 10 and pair that and have the 16 energy worth of Particle Beam, but I'd say Particle Beam is just kind of a meh weapon. Like, it's not great, but I'll put it in B. To be fair, I haven't really tried it on my free-to-play account. I can only say what I know about it from, like, my main account, my max level account. Repeater 6. Repeater is... I mean, there's no reason to buy a close quarters weapon besides Revoker currently. Like, if you're gonna buy one, you may as well get Revoker. Will Repeater get buffed in the future? I don't know, maybe, but it's not on the list currently that I'm aware of, so we're gonna leave it there for now. Revoker 6, I mean, definitely you should, unless you, like, spend $8 bajillion and you skip all the way past the early game. You're gonna need Revoker 6, I think. Savant 6, same issue as Disruptor, actually. I'm gonna put it in B. It is decent to get, but the same issue with Disruptor. The only other one that costs credits, the only affordable one, you could say, besides the 6, is the 16, and that's just really awkward. And the 6s are fine, right? You could get 6 okay for a little while, but the problem is that 12 energy worth of weaponry is really not that much. Trying to think long-term, if you're working long-term, you really want a weapon that's capable of being used for longer than just the early game. So ideally, if you're using a 6 energy weapon, you'd want to have a 10 energy weapon that you could pair with it on a 16 energy mech later down the road. Which is exactly the case for Stormrack 6 as well as Revoker 6. Another S tier weapon. Everyone definitely should get that. Again, unless you're at like completely skipping over early game, it's worth getting. You kind of need a reload implant to make this really, really strong, but it's easier to make better use of it in like mid game, for example, if you have a 10 that you can pair on it later. Tetra Rifle 6. Another decent one. You actually do have the option of getting the 10. You can also get the 8. Tetra Rifle's got a lot of options. I'm gonna put this in probably worth buying. It is not a meta weapon necessarily, but it's probably worth buying if you need it for progression. Like if you're in that tier and you're looking for something to get, then Tetra Rifle's not a bad one. Viper 6, I'm gonna say B as well. You could get the 6, and it's cheap, and it'll be okay, but it's kind of the same deal with a lot of these other ones, is simply that the 8 is accessible later on, and you just use 2 8s, and you'd never really go back to using the 6s for any reason. Moving on to Epic 8 energy weapons. Ember Gun 8, I'm gonna put A tier. Probably worth buying. It's fairly cheap. You're most likely going to get it. It is definitely one of the best 8 energy epic weapons that you're going to be able to really get. Helix Rack 8, I would also say probably worth buying because it's the best guided weapon that you're going to have access to for a little while. Like the best up and over type guided weapon. And those are fairly common and pretty darn strong in like earlier mid-game. Quantum Gun 8. I'm gonna say probably just avoid that. I mean, the difference between the 6 and the 8 is pretty small, right? And like, it's higher energy capacity, it's more damage output, but there's really nothing that does great with Quantum Gun just because it's more of a support weapon that doesn't deal a lot of damage. Stasis Beam. Definitely don't. Just get it for free from the derby if you have that Stasis Beam derby. Otherwise, avoid it. Voltaic RPG, I'm gonna say also best to avoid, but it probably won't be the worst. I actually don't own this on my free-to-play account currently, but I think it does okay. Like, I've seen other people use it, and I think it does okay, but it's like, realistically, I'm not gonna, like, change any of my current weapons for it. So, Legendary 8 energy weapons. Disc Launcher 8. I'm gonna go with probably just avoid that. Yeah, probably just avoid that. Now, it's a nice option to have because a lot of mechs have guided weapon achievements, and so just having a legendary 8 energy guided weapon is kind of nice. But if you want just raw performance, Disc Launcher really isn't it. I got the Disc Launcher 16, which is basically the same as having 2 8s, right? I got the Disc Launcher 16. I got lucky in a Crate Rush event. And it's balls. Yeah, it's really bad. I would not recommend it. Howler 8. I'm gonna say probably worth it. Probably worth it. I actually use it pretty regularly in like Hangar Showdown. It's not bad, and it's actually gonna get a buff, so I think this is one that's probably worth getting. Overdriver 8. Definitely worth getting. This is a very, very good weapon, and yeah, no, I mean, not really many notes on that. It's just really, really solid. Podgun 8, same deal, actually. It's an S tier. Podgun is a legitimately meta weapon, guys. It's so strong. I don't think that they're gonna nerf it either. They might, and if they do, it'd probably be like a tiny bit, but it's one of those things that's just so strong. So strong. And it kind of fills that, like, guided niche that you might need in your hangar. Not for, like, achievements, obviously. It's not going to finish any achievements, but it is a homing type weapon, so it'll be very, very good. Railgun 8. Now, I personally have been glazing Railgun 8 like crazy in a lot of my videos, but that's only on Orion. Only on Orion, really. So if you don't have Orion, then you probably wouldn't bother getting it. I'd say it's probably worth getting, but not necessarily if you want to skip it. Tetra Rifle 8 is kind of the same deal. These are kind of interchangeable. Like, if you get one, then I probably wouldn't bother getting the other. Realistically, you're not going to use 2 sniper builds in the exact same hangar, so it's a little bit of a waste of resources if your goal is to progress quickly, right? I mean, like, my free-to-play account has both, but I just want to use them because I want to have fun with it. But generally speaking, yeah, my opinion on these two is that, like, they're both solid. If you have Orion, then the best weapon's going to be Railgun. If you're not using Orion, if you're using any other mech, then your best weapon's going to be Tetra Rifle. That's just my general opinion on that. Viper 8 is, I'm going to put probably worth it. I do think that it is worse than Overdriver on everything. I do not think that there is a single mech that works better with Viper. I think every single mech works better with Overdriver. I'll put it in A above B. I put the 6 in B, but I'm going to put this one, I'm going to put the 8 in A simply because it's a little bit of personal preference maybe, but I think just the mechanics of Overdriver are just straight up superior. Epic 10 energy weapons. Cryo Launcher 10. Yeah, probably same as 6. It's probably worth getting. It'll be decent when you get it, and you'll probably get it just for the sake of progression anyway. Fuse Mortar 10. I'll say B. I don't think you need it. I'm tempted to put it C, but I've seen some people doing fairly well with it. If you know what you're doing, then it's actually really easy to avoid the rocket rain from these fuse mortars. I'll put it in B for the sake of argument. Fusion Cannon 10. Nah, bruh. Nade Launcher 10. Yeah, it's decent. It's decent. I feel like there's not really much reason to buy it outside of progress. And Nade Launcher 10 is one of the ones that I bought because of that. The thing is, though, like, you're not going to use it unless you ranked it up and used 2 of them, which I don't know why you'd bother doing that. Like, it's okay, but it's not that good. Cryo Launcher is cheaper, both to buy and to upgrade. And it performs about equally as well. So, like, if you're going to go with one, just go with the Cryo Launcher 10. Quantum Gun 10. This image, this PNG is actually of the 12, because I don't have a PNG of the 10. But, yeah, I mean, this is just going to go in C with the rest of them, because it's still bad, even at 10 energy. Yeah, it's still bad. Chain Gun 10. I'm going to put best to avoid. Now, you could... Chain Gun's not a good weapon, right? But you could use 2 10s on like a Panther, for example, and having those heavy ones on really high energy max can make it more useful because by comparison, you have more firepower. And that's okay, but it's still best to avoid, right? It's still not one that I'd recommend, but it's slightly less crap. Graviton Beam. Probably worth getting. Personally, I think that Graviton 10 is the best weapon for Panther when you get it. However, I will say, just because it's the best weapon for Panther does not mean it's the best weapon to get, because you're not going to use Panther forever, right? And so I definitely don't regret having double Graviton 10s, because you do need to rank it up to rank 6 to use 2 of them. It's pretty much necessary to rank it up, because you can't just use one. It's not going to do well at all. It's not the best 10 energy weapon you're going to get, so not everyone needs it, but a lot of people would do very well with it. Hellfire 10. No, same deal. Yeah, same deal. It's essentially a close quarters weapon. Like, it's not classified as close quarters, but it has a maximum range of 40 meters. And because of that, it's really kind of niched in terms of which mechs work well on it. Like, as opposed to Chain Gun, for example, where it's like you could just duplicate the 10 and use them on Panther or something. There's really no... Like, there's no heavy mech that does well with Hellfire, right? I don't think so. Maybe Dreadnought, but that's about it. So yeah, it really doesn't increase in value with higher energy. Overdriver 10, also probably worth getting. I'm gonna put in A. It is really good. Being able to use double 8s on whatever just immediately is really, really good. Being able to use double 10s is obviously even better. It's the same weapon, but this is going to cost a little bit more because you have to rank it up to rank 6 in order to use 2 of them. I don't necessarily think that everyone needs to get the 8 and the 10, but I guess, for example, if you decided you didn't want the 8, you could go for the 10 instead. But you definitely should get one or the other. That's kind of like the caveat I'm going to put on that one. Particle Beam 10. I mean, no, yeah, it still goes to B. Yeah, similar to Hellfire. It doesn't really gain value with higher energy. It kind of just is what it is still, which is, mid. Pod Gun 10, probably worth buying, to be honest. Yeah, probably everybody should buy that. Pod Gun is one of those things where it's like the higher energy you have, the better. So you could work on double 8s for a while, and then you could have an 8 and a 10 for a while until you duplicate the 10, then you use double 10. And just like the higher energy you have, the better. And you could do that with Overdriver as well, but Pod Gun is a slightly more meta weapon. What is this called? Repeater 10. I'm going to put both of the repeaters, actually. I'm going to put both of the repeaters in C instead of F, because I actually don't think they're that bad. Like, the thing is that they have a lot of damage output, and they have a really fast fire rate, and they do really good work, and they have a really short reload with a recharge magazine. But the problem is that they fire all of their damage in a matter of like 2 seconds, and then you essentially have no damage output anymore. It's like having no ammo on Arc Torrent for like basically the entire time. Like you get a good burst of damage, and then your damage is just like put. And it's not great. In lower SP lobbies, Repeater's not going to be that bad, though. It's probably usable, but definitely not a long-term option for you. Revoker 10 is definitely S. This is like one of the most must-buy weapons with the current meta that could even exist. And the reason is because even in max level, top competitive games, people are still using Revoker 10s. Because they're that strong. You don't even need the 12 to be competitive. So yeah, people still use the 10s, even at max level. So this is like one of the most worthwhile purchases pretty much ever in terms of credits. But the thing is, they're gonna get a nerf and they'll be slightly worse. Will people continue using the 10s? I don't know. We'll find out. Probably, I would guess. Like if I had to guess, probably. Stormwrack 10. Kind of same deal. I think everyone should get it, although I don't think really anybody uses Stormwrack 10's max level. It's still one that everybody should get, though, yeah. Like, as long as you're progressing at a normal rate. Tetra Rifle 10. I'm gonna put this in probably worth it. It's kind of competing with Overdriver and Graviton, I think. When it comes to, like, I have Panther, it has 20 energy, what the heck do I put on it? You know, you're probably gonna buy a 10 energy legendary weapon and then get it up to rank 6 so that you can use 2 of them. And I think your 3 major options there is either Graviton, Overdriver, Tetra Rifle. All 3 of those are pretty equally valid and all going to be very, very good on Panther. There are no epic 12 energy weapons for credits. There just aren't. Fun fact. Legendary 12 energy, there's only one, and it is Disruptor. And put B, it's decent. Again, like pairing the 6 with the 12 is kind of awkward. The higher SP you are, the less Disruptor works, to be honest. Voltaic RPG 14, I'm gonna say probably avoid that. Again, like, you know, cheap progression is cheap progression, that's fine, but in terms of like actual value, like you're never going to use it. It's never going to actually feature in your hangar, or at least it shouldn't. Cryo Launcher 16, I'm gonna say same as the Voltaic 14. By the time you get to Cryo 16 in, like, what is it, Tier 7 or something like that, you're not going to be using Cryo Launcher. You're just not. So buying it's kind of pointless. Fusion Cannon 16. Same deal, except worse, because Fusion Cannon is, like, the most garbage weapon. Helix Rex 16 is kind of the opposite. It's probably worth buying for everybody. I would even go so far as to say, so long as you're progressing at a normal rate, Helix 16 is going to be really strong, and you're definitely going to use it sometimes. Maybe not in your main hangar, but I definitely think it's one of those weapons that you're probably going to really want to use sometimes. And same thing as like pod gun. The higher energy you have on a like a guided type spammy weapon like that, the higher energy you have, the better. And it's epic, so it's fairly cheap compared to legendary. But I mean, you're free to disagree with me on that. Stasis Beam 16. No, you shouldn't use it. If you have it and you use it, then stop using it and you'll be happier. I pretty much guarantee it. Howler 16. I don't necessarily think that this one's gonna be great by the time you end up with the 16 energy legendary weapons. Howler, I don't think it's gonna be fantastic. It is gonna get a buff pretty soon, but is it gonna be enough to make it worth using in like later stages of the game? Probably not. The 16 really wouldn't come into play unless you had a maxed medium mech or a rank 5 heavy. And there's really no heavy mechs that are going to work great with Howler, I don't think so. Savant 16. I will say this one's actually also going to get a buff, and I don't want to judge it too early. It's going to get a rather significant buff, I think. I'd expect it to probably go in A. Currently, Savant is actually really bad, so I'm going to put it in C for now. However, if the buff happens to be pretty good, then, you know, I'll have a video on that, obviously. Stormwrack 16. Now, what I said about Revoker 10 is technically untrue, because Stormwrack 16 is going to be the most worthwhile weapon to buy with credits. Very, very strong. Stormwrack is a top 2 weapon right? Like the top weapon is Revoker, the second top weapon is Stormwreck, and having the 16 available for freaking credits is like, you definitely should be doing that. So this probably makes the most worthwhile credit weapon to buy as of right now. Again, there are rebalances happening. They haven't mentioned anything about Stormwrack though, and it might not even get any changes whatsoever. The main thing that makes Stormwrack really strong is the legendary reload implant, because it's 50% at max level as opposed to 30%, which most implants are. If they do change it, I kind of don't think that they're even going to nerf the weapon itself. I think they're just going to nerf the reload implant. But at least as of right now, it is definitely a top 2 weapon. And so, yeah, I have not arranged these inside the tiers to any great extent. A lot of this really just depends on what stage of the game you're in currently, right? I mean, like, Cryo Launcher 6 is up here with freaking Overdrive or 10, but they're not equal, obviously, in terms of performance, but it's probably worth it to get each of them in their own respective tiers, right? So yeah, that's my take on which of the credit-based weapons are actually worth getting. As always, the link to this tier list is in the description. If you want to rank them yourself, you can share a screenshot or whatever on Discord if you feel like. And as well as that, let me know if there's any other tier lists you want me to make, and if you see a comment that you agree with, go ahead and leave a like on that comment as well. Otherwise, that will be it for me. Appreciate y'all. Take care.